Hello student, how are you all? I hope you all are fine. So you are very welcome in our lecture number 1 of coordinate geometry of mathematics. Okay. So now my dear friends, today we are going to discuss coordinate geometry. This lecture is going to be very amazing my dear friend, because coordinate geometry is a topic which is very interesting. Okay. So you have to be listen very carefully, and I hope you will enjoy this lecture my dear friends. Yes, so now start without wasting the time my dear friends. Yes. So today we are going to discuss introduction to coordinate geometry. What is introduction to coordinate geometry? So my dear friends, what is coordinate geometry? What is coordinate geometry? So coordinate geometry, it is a branch of mathematics in which we deals with the algebraic equations on the graphs. Okay, so what is, so my dear friends, the basic definition of the coordinate geometry is coordinate geometry refers to the study of algebraic expressions on graph. Okay, so now my dear friends, here is, so mathematics, my dear friends, mathematics was divided into two parts. In ancient mathematics was divided into two parts. What is first my dear friends, here is, first is algebra and second is geometry. Second is what? Geometry. So algebraic algebraic equation were not used in geometry. Okay, and geometrical figures were not used in algebra. Means algebraic equations in ancient time, in all periods, algebraic equations, we cannot use these algebraic equations in the geometry, and geometrical figures we cannot use in the algebra. But these two branches were put together by a French mathematician Rene Descartes. There is a French mathematician Rene Descartes. Rene Descartes. Okay, he is a French mathematician. He is what? He is French mathematician. So my dear friends, before Rene Descartes, mathematics is divided into two parts, algebra and geometry. And we cannot use algebraic expression, we cannot use algebraic equation in the graph, and we cannot use geometrical figures in geometrical figures in the algebra. Okay, so my dear friends, with the help of Rene Descartes is a French mathematician. Okay, he put together these two branches. Means these two branches were put together by the French mathematician Rene Descartes. Okay, for the first time. So he introduced the concept of Cartesian plane or coordinate system or coordinate geometry. Okay, so my dear friends, he introduced the concept of Cartesian plane or coordinate system, or we can say coordinate geometry. Okay, he explained coordinate geometry and algebra together. Okay, I hope you get this my dear friends. Okay my dear friends, so now my dear friends, let's talk about the Rene Descartes. Okay, yes, so now we are talking about Rene Descartes, how he developed the concept of the coordinate geometry. Okay, so now my dear friends, he is a great mathematician. He is a great French mathematician of the 17th century. Okay, so my dear friends, the coordinate system was commonly used, commonly used, which is also called as Cartesian system, after the French mathematician Rene Descartes. Okay, now he developed the concept of the coordinate geometry in 17th century. In 17th century, after his theory, coordinate system was used commonly. Okay, now my dear friends, one day when resting in bed, he solved the problem of describing the position of a point in a plane. Okay, at that time he watching a fly on the ceiling from his bed. So my dear friends, he wondered how to best describe the fly's location and decided that one of the corner of the ceiling would be used as a reference. So my dear friends, he take the reference which we called as origin, Okay, so his method was developed of the older idea of latitude and longitude. Okay, my dear friends, I hope you understand these things. So now my dear friends, in honor of Descartes, this system used for describing the position of a point in a plane is called known as Cartesian system. Okay, so I hope my dear friends you understand these things, how Rene Descartes, how this scientist gives an idea of the coordinate geometry. Okay, gives the theory, gives the concept of the coordinate geometry in the 17th century. So before the 17th century, before the theory of this Rene Descartes, we cannot draw the algebraic equations on the graph, or we cannot use the geometrical figures on the algebra. So my dear friends, with the help of this, we can plot the algebraic equation, we can plot the line, equation of line on the graph. Okay, I hope my dear friends you understand these things. So now my dear friends, let's come on the topic. Yes, so now my dear friends, let's see. There are some terms related to the coordinate geometry. There are some terms related to the coordinate geometry. Okay. So my dear friends, in the Cartesian plane, there are two axes. So we are talking about these axes. Okay. So what are these axes? So my dear friends, there are two axes. One is the horizontal axis. One is the, let's suppose this is our horizontal axis, and one is the vertical axis. One is what? One is vertical axis. So these are the two axes in the Cartesian plane. These are the two axes in the Cartesian plane. Okay. So now first axis is called x-axis. First one is called x-axis, and the second is called y-axis. Second is called, my dear friends, y-axis. So this line is also called horizontal line, and this line is also called vertical line. Okay, I hope my dear friends understand these things. So in the Cartesian plane there are two axes. One is the horizontal axis, which is called x-axis, and the another is the vertical axis, which is called as y-axis. Okay, so these are the axes which are used in the coordinate geometry. So I hope my dear friends you understand these things. So now my dear friends, let's talk about the origin. What is origin? So in the Cartesian plane, the point at which these axes are intersect, these x-axis and y-axis intersect each other, is called the origin. So my dear friends, in the Cartesian plane, the origin is represented by an ordered pair of the Cartesian plane. Is represented by the ordered pair of the Cartesian coordinate, means we can say that the coordinates of this origin is always 0, 0. So this point, this origin point is used as a reference of the Cartesian plane. Is used as the reference of the Cartesian plane. So let's suppose this is a Cartesian plane and these are the two axes which are x-axis and y-axis. Okay, and the intersecting point is the origin. And these two axes are perpendicular to each other. These two axes are what? Perpendicular to each other. Okay. So now let's come on the Cartesian coordinates. Now what is Cartesian coordinate? So my dear friends, the x-axis and y-axis are perpendicular to intersect each other. Okay. So the ordered pair in the Cartesian plane is called the Cartesian coordinate. Is called the Cartesian coordinates. Okay. And the Cartesian coordinates are of the form of x, y. Are of the form of x, y. Okay. So let's suppose this is a Cartesian plane and we are plotting a point P. So the representation is like x, y. What is x, y? Now if you talk about what is abscissa and what is ordinate. Okay. So my dear friends, in the Cartesian coordinate, let's suppose we have a point P and the representation of the Cartesian coordinates is of the ordered pairs. Okay, are of the form of x, y. Now in this case, my dear friends, this axis what? This axis abscissa. Okay, and this y is ordinate. This y is ordinate. Okay. So this is called, my dear friends, x coordinate or abscissa, and this is called y coordinate or ordinate Okay, I hope, my dear friends, you understand these things. So the first number in the ordered pair is called the abscissa. In other words, the value of x in the ordered pair is called the abscissa. Okay, so it is the distance of any point on the plane from the y-axis. Okay, from the y-axis means, let's suppose this is a point and the distance between this from the y-axis. This is y-axis and this is x-axis. So this distance is x, means abscissa. And the second number in the ordered pair is called the ordinate. It's called the what? It's called the ordinate. It takes the value of y. The ordinate is the distance of any point on the plane from the x-axis. So this distance, this is a point P, and this distance is what? This distance is y. This distance is y, my dear friends. Okay. So for example, my dear friends, if a Cartesian coordinate is 2, 3, here is 2 represent abscissa. 2 represent abscissa, and here 3 represent ordinate. 3 represent ordinate. Means 2 is what? 2 is the x coordinate and 3 is the y coordinate. 3 is the y coordinate. Okay. I hope, my dear friends, you understand these things. So this is all about the abscissa and ordinate. Okay. So now, my dear friend, let's move on. Yes. So now we are talking about one-dimensional plane. Okay. So now what is one-dimensional plane? For the Cartesian coordinate system in one dimension, draw a straight line. Okay, let's suppose we are drawing a straight line. This is a straight line. Okay, and choose a point O as the origin. So this is the point O. So its name is origin. Its name is what? Origin. So my dear friends, this is the middle point of the line. This is what? This is the middle point of the line. Okay, and the right side of the middle point of the line is positive numbers. Positive numbers. And the left side of the middle point means of the origin is negative number. Is what? Negative numbers. Okay, so my dear friends, the line segment which is in the right of the origin is positive, whereas the line segment in the left of the origin is negative. In the left of the origin is negative. Okay, so my dear friend, the line which is chosen for determining the points in one dimension is called the number line. Is called the number line. So this is what? This is number line. So this is used to determine the points in one dimension. To determine the points in one dimension. Okay, I hope my dear friends you are understand these things. So this is the one dimension plane. Okay, so now let's see the two-dimensional plane. What is two-dimensional plane, my dear friend? So my dear friends, here is two-dimensional coordinate geometry. Two-dimensional coordinate geometry deals with the x and y coordinates. Deals with the x and y coordinate means abscissa and ordinate, which are represented in the coordinate plane or Cartesian plane. Which are represented in the coordinate plane and Cartesian plane. I hope my dear friend you understand these things. So let's suppose this is the vertical axis and this is the horizontal axis. Okay, I hope my dear friend you understand this thing. So a coordinate plane has two axes. We know that one is horizontal, which is known as x-axis, and the one is vertical, which is known as y-axis. Which is known as what? Y-axis. So this is x-axis and this is y-axis. Okay, and the intersecting points between these two lines, this is what? This is origin. This is origin. We know very well, my dear friends. So the coordinates are 0, 0. What is 0, 0? So now let's suppose we are placing a point P. So the coordinates like x, y. Coordinates like x, y, which is represented in xy plane. Okay, and x and y are the coordinates of the point. Coordinates of the point. So my dear friends, I hope you understand these things. So O is the origin whose coordinates is 0, 0. The perpendicular distance of P means the perpendicular distance of P from x-axis is y distance. Means if the point, this is the point P, and if you talk about this distance, this is y distance, and if you talk about this distance, this is x distance. Okay, I hope you understand these things. Okay, so the perpendicular distance of a point P from x-axis is y distance, and the perpendicular distance of point P from the y-axis is what? X distance. Okay, I hope you understand these things. So now, my dear friends, let's see the another dimensional plane, which is three-dimensional plane. So my dear friends, this three-dimensional plane is not in our syllabus. We are just taking the idea what is three-dimensional plane. In our lecture, we are going to just learn about the two-dimensional plane. Okay, two-dimensional plane in the upcoming lectures. So this dimensional plane is just an idea. You have to take just an idea. that another dimensional plane is also exists in our world. Okay, so now what is three-dimensional plane? So my dear friends, the 3D Cartesian plane has one more perpendicular axis to the normal Cartesian plane. So what is the normal Cartesian plane? So now my dear friends, this is our two-dimensional plane. This is normal Cartesian plane. This is x-axis. This is y-axis. So now in the three-dimensional plane, there is another perpendicular axis which is known as z-axis. Like this. If you see this diagram, you can conclude that there are three axes: x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis, and all three axes are perpendicular to each other. Okay, I hope you understand these things. So now my dear friends, here is, if you observe this, there are 3 points. X, y, and z. Okay, the coordinates are like x, y, and z. Okay, so now here is x represent the position along the x-axis. X represent the position along the x-axis. Okay, x represent the position along the x-axis, and y defines the position along the y-axis. Okay, understand my dear friend? Represent the what? Yeah, represent the position along the y-axis, and z denote the position along the z-axis. Means along the z-axis, along the x-axis, and along the y-axis. Okay, so this is the point P in 3 dimension. So my dear friends, I hope you understand these things. So this is enough for today, my dear friends, and we will meet in the next lecture with the next amazing topic. So thank you very much for listening me, and take care and goodbye.